Good morning, YouTube. Welcome back to the show. This is the final video in the series that I've done with my mate Avi, who's an Arsenal fan. In the previous videos, we've discussed Arsenal's transfer window. Avi's done his best 1 to 11. And in today's video, we're going through probably the most contentious topic when it comes to Arsenal. Is Arteta the man for the job? Is Arteta the right man to be the Arsenal manager? And a little spoiler for you, I don't think he is. But let's see what Avi has to say. He has strong opinions of Arteta. I don't think he thinks Arteta is the man for the job either. But who does he think is the man for the job? Let's find out. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, share, subscribe, and all those good things. And please go back and watch the other videos that I did with Avi. If you also want to watch the full stream that we did on my Twitch channel, I'll leave a link to that in the description as well. And yeah, enjoy the video. That's not the right game, but it's like the point I'm trying to say is
you're waiting for that bullet
Norwich. It could be after Norwich. It could be after 2 years time. But anyway, so another name that I heard you guys being linked with, and I actually had a bit of a chuckle because it shows there's so little out there.
Interest, yeah?
Yeah, is Graham Potter.
Yeah, I knew it. I fucking knew it.
Oh, Potter himself, bro. If he can bring his wand and stuff, who knows? You never know.
It's not long till we get Sam Allardyce being linked as well.
Bro, you can have Steve Bruce. I'll drive him there myself. I promise you. I'll sign the contract for him. Fuck.
Yeah, well, so this is the thing, is people, and I think everyone was very Wenger out, including me towards the end. I was on that train, and obviously there was those people saying, you're going to regret it, and I do. But we were complaining about Wenger being out fighting for that 4th or 5th spot. Now we're fighting for 8th or 9th. So how we've fallen is drastic. So
you don't know. At the time, it probably was time for him to go. At the time.
No, I think so. You
can't. You never know. You never know.
When every club after like a legacy manager, well, there's mainly only two, United and Arsenal. When that legacy manager leaves, United took what, 400 or £1 billion, and now they are getting to a point where they're looking good actually. So
to be seen. I tipped them to win the league in another podcast that I did, but anyway.
I have a sneaky suspicion they're onto something there. But anyway, you can't go from a legacy manager into a project, like with your manager becomes a project. And I don't think David Moyes was a project manager, but there was so much going on that he was never going to succeed. You needed someone like an Ancelotti or something to come in afterwards, someone who can literally just take over.
Whoever replaced Fergie was going to be difficult, but I think even more so with someone like Moisey.
Yeah, exactly. So, but Fergie took him. He told them to choose Moyes.
Yeah, well, they went basically off of his he
recommendation.
Thought he would have what it takes. But anyway,
yeah.
But
so
coming back to Arteta,
also bringing in Arteta, he's been given a difficult job, and I don't think he's the man for the job at this stage. Because yes, he was Pep's understudy and this shit. He set the cones out at practice and whatnot. Fuck, that doesn't mean anything, because when you're trying to pull a side together and a fan base together, actually, because he came in when the fan base was so hectic at the time. Like, we've been toxic for a good few years now, but he's not the guy for the job. If we had gone for a Conte or a Ancelotti or something like that at the time, maybe it would have made sense. Before Emery even, it would have made sense. You can't say Emery's a shit manager. Yes, he interchanged his tactics and all these things. He did some wild stuff. But the fucking guy's won the Europa League 4 years out of 5.
He's the Europa League king, that guy.
You can't say winning the Europa League with Seville and stuff like that is shit. You can't tell me he's a shit manager. Seville weren't shit. They're not a strong side, but they somehow win. And he got to the final with Arsenal. They didn't win, fine. But he isn't a bad manager, and I think in hindsight he was shipped out quickly. I was very happy when he left, because we're that toxic at the moment, all of us. Like, we're literally that toxic. That you need a manager that changes things. And I think even if Ancelotti came, or Conte comes, and he does shit, we're going to be toxic in a month. And we're going to start saying, oh, Ancelotti.
It just seems to be, I don't know, it just seems to be Arsenal fans. I mean that with the greatest respect, but it just seems to be like,
oh, wild.
You're dining on the glories of yesteryear.
But Liverpool went through this.
Liverpool went through it, sure. United went through it, but you guys are going
to
through
a lesser extent, though. I think United
you
went
have to
through a
let's be
lesser
fair.
extent because they had the
Exactly,
cheese
and
to back it
I
up.
was just going to say that you guys are going through it now, and it seems worse because at least Manchester United and Liverpool had owners that made the signings that would take you to the next level. They pulled all the stops out to get the best players. Whereas for
Yeah.
Arsenal, since Wenger left, they haven't really
But you
made
see,
those
this is the
type of
thing.
signings.
This is the thing. Don't
Aubameyang,
forget, Liverpool. Don't forget, Liverpool were signing guys like Barini and Iago Aspas
they
and
had
shit like
Stuart
that.
Downing at one point, dude. I remember
Yeah,
that Paul
so
Kelsey and Stuart Downing at one point on the left hand side. It was
exactly. And then you had Karius. And so everyone forgets that. Everyone forgets that Liverpool were making
you
sad
got to go
signings that
through
not
that.
even,
You got to go through that
yeah.
for sure.
But the
But then
difference is
it turned around under
because of
Rodgers.
Klopp.
No,
Well,
it turned around
yeah,
before that. It turned around under Rodgers
he started.
when Suarez, Sterling, when the SAS was at its peak.
Yeah.
Um,
I
but
think Rodgers sort of made the turnaround, but the real change happened 2 or 3 seasons into Klopp. That's when
yeah,
Liverpool. Okay, yes,
for
Rodgers
sure,
pulled them out of that rut, but 2 or 3 into Klopp, that's when you saw Liverpool saying, "Hey,
changed it
there's something going on."
for sure.
Back to Arteta. Back to Arteta.
Does he need to go? And do you need to replace him with who do you replace him with?
I'm so conflicted because he needs to go. He's done crazy things. Like he's isolated Saliba. He's Martinelli's confidence is through the floor as well as one of the
Yeah, you
guys.
think
And I'm even
someone
starting
who
to,
just won a gold medal would be a little bit sharper, you know?
but they don't. And he's had fights with Aubameyang. He's Özil. The whole story with Özil. Something is just he seems to take this no nonsense approach, but it seems like some of these players need the arm around the shoulder approach, and he doesn't get that. Like
I don't
Özil.
understand. He doesn't have the clout to take the no nonsense approach for me. You
This is
know,
the thing.
a manager like Rafa Benitez. Okay, I know I'm bringing it back to my team again, but he had the clout. He'd won Champions League. He'd won leagues. He'd won
I think
everything.
Rafa would be good at Arsenal actually.
He would have, but Rafa can go tell a player to,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
this is my team. You're playing in my team. I don't think the Arsenal players
No,
look
he
at
doesn't have
Arteta
that.
and they see him as like an authoritative figure. You know what I mean?
No, they maybe thought that when he came from City because of Pep and all that crap. But I
That was a
also
scam, dude. But anyway,
this is highly controversial. As what I'm going to say is, I think Pep is a scam. I don't rate
I
him.
agree. I agree.
I,
You heard it here first,
it's
people. He's a fraud.
man's a fraud. No,
Fraudiola.
you know why I say that is Pep had the choice at the time. If I'm not mistaken, Liverpool was on the table and City was on the table. Klopp went to City to Liverpool. Pep went to. I don't know if it was the same time. I don't know if it was the same time, but definitely Liverpool were open at the time because Klopp's been there a long. Pep's been at City quite a while, so I think he could have gone to Liverpool. Why didn't he go to Liverpool? Because they were going through what we're going through. He was not prepared to have
He's
average
never
players.
had a difficult job. He had
Exactly.
Barcelona where Messi, Xavi, and Iniesta were in their prime. He went to Bayern
Exactly.
Munich, which winning the league there
It's
is
a
like
one-man band that
playing
yeah,
against club teams there.
exactly.
And then
One-man band. Sorry.
then he came to City, the richest, backed by a country who had the
And they're only
deepest
signing big players. They
only
just
signing
sign
big
big
players.
players everywhere.
Another thing to why I also agree that Pep is a fraud. He never those players that have consistently won things for him, the league and the FA Cups, etc., are none of the players he signed. He never signed De Bruyne. He never signed Aguero. He never signed David Silva. He never signed these players. The only players he can argue that he signed were Edison, good goalkeeper, and he signed Kyle Walker. But to be honest, if I
Very good
was
right
manager
back,
of
though.
City, very good right back, but honestly, I can just also go buy the best right back in the league. It wasn't like he unearthed a gem there, you know. He went and signed the best right back in the league. It's not exactly like rocket
Exactly. So
science.
if you exactly, so if Pep maybe went to a side like Dortmund, let's say even Dortmund, and he did a job there, I'd say, fuck, okay, this guy knows what he's doing because he's got a decent squad, a decent side. They challenge here and there. They're not a side 11 stars, but they're good. They're very good. If he goes to a Leipzig, cool. Same thing. I'll say, flip. Maybe you are a good manager. But the next move he'll do is obviously Madrid, PSG, or Barca again.
For
Well,
sure.
obviously not Madrid. I wouldn't say you go to Madrid again. But
He might go back
that's
to
the
Barca.
level. That's the level he's at. Is he's never going to take a team that is close to the top and take them there. I don't think that's his style. He said he wants to actually take a national team next. But so if he goes to a national team, fine. If he takes Spain and makes them something, you could say, okay, look, something's here there because Spain are not where they should be. So yeah, so coming back to Arteta then, on that note is yes, I got sidetracked onto Pep there. But Arteta comes with that
Happens.
whole clout of God came in with the clout of Pep and this and that and this and that. At that time, I think he could have told players to get fucked, and they would have been like, okay, we can't really say too much because Pep has said this guy's the Messiah. All the players, Sterling, all of them have said he was their coach, like, or they liked him. Now, a year later, or 2 whatever it is, 2 years later, he goes and tells a player like Partey to get fucked. Partey can literally throw a shoe at him like Beckham. Like literally, that's who are you? You've done nothing. You were setting out cones for Arteta. It's clear. So it's a complicated one. I think he's not the time for the job. It's the same as everyone was saying, bring Thierry Henry to coach Arsenal at the time. Not the time for the job. And that would have just ruined Thierry's legacy because we would have turned on him. We would have said Thierry Henry out. Which
Knowing you, yes.
and
no one is
you're
safe, but anyone can catch it at Arsenal.
Exactly. You're going to have memes of Thierry Henry. Imagine memes of Thierry Henry. I think Arsenal fans, like we are very toxic about like that. So you needed a manager like an Ancelotti. I keep using him because he's prepared to have taken the challenge on and he has the clout and whatever, but he's a tactical manager. He knows who he's using, which players need to play what. Arteta came in and said, this is the style. I'm going to make Xhaka play that. I'm going to make Callum Chambers play that.
Fitting
I'm going to make
square pegs and round holes here.
Yeah.
Not,
exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why I referred to Kevin De Bruyne earlier, is if you tell Kevin De Bruyne to do something, he will do it, and he'll do it damn well. But if you tell Kevin De Bruyne that you need to track back and play box to box and shit like that, he'll do the job, but I don't think he's going to be great at that up and down, up and down, up and down. So at City, you can do that because you've got the players to do that. You've got that Fernandinho behind everyone to clean up anything that goes a bit loose. You've got the David Silva, or had the David Silvas, you've got the De Bruynes, you've got everything to do. You literally need to say, this is all you do for 90 minutes. Back forward, back forward, back forward in this space and make something happen. Arteta comes to Arsenal, implements that system, but you've got Xhaka trying to track back 40, 50 meters.
Like you say, you got the square pegs.
But then surely as a manager or coach, that is where you come in and tactically you have to say, okay, we don't have this. Maybe we should play. Maybe we play three at the back.
I mean,
because
yeah,
we don't
it's
have
a crazy
personnel.
idea, but put the round holes in the round peg. You know what I mean? Like,
so this to close this chat off. Actually, takes me to what I mentioned earlier, where I said, we'll go into your comments, the guy's comment first after that. But
sure.
when I mentioned that I have two systems, and you asked me about Maitland-Niles. So I think Maitland-Niles is not he's a good footballer, but I don't think he's a world beater. But in a system where he plays as a wing back, and you play at the back, you play, this is assuming Tomiyasu wasn't there anymore, or even Tomiyasu's not here, we have Saliba back. Let's use that as an example. I would have played White, Gabriel, and Saliba at your back three. Then you've got Tierney bombing down the left. You've got Ainsley Maitland-Niles, who's very athletic. He can easily do that role. And you've got three good defenders. That system, for me, works. I would have loved to see that. When you ask me about Ainsley Maitland-Niles, that's where I see him. I don't see him as an out-and-out right back because I don't think defensively he's strong enough. And where else can he play? He's not a great midfielder. He rated himself as a midfielder. And him coming out the other day and saying, I'll play wherever I can. It's bullshit. He was given the chance to be the right back. And he said no. He even, I think Big Sam said it on deadline day. He said, when I signed Maitland-Niles, he told me he wants to play midfield. And that's why I signed him. Not because I wanted him as a right back. He told me he left Arsenal because he wanted to play midfield. And that's why I signed him. Now he's coming out and telling everyone, I said I want to play right back. Fuck off. Now that you've been told you're not good enough.
Now you're scrambling here for something.
To make Arteta look like an idiot. So I don't think he fits into the system as a midfielder. I think he would have been good as a wing back, not a right back.
So what are you getting at here? What does this mean now for the manager and for the system?
No, so basically the round hole, square pegs, round holes, whatever, is tactically you have to say your defenders are not good enough to defend 2-on-2 in any situation. That's why Brentford came and made us look like a reserve side, because they had two strikers, both very physical, and they had a field day because they were going 2-on-2. And I don't know how Pablo Murray is like 9 foot tall, but he literally gets bullied. Like Cedric could probably bully him. And Mbuemo was ripping him to shit. Ben White looked like a child against Ivan Toney. So play three. Why don't you play three? Then you've got a spare man. You've always got that spare man. And nobody understood that. And then Arteta says, fine. Arteta actually said after one of the games, They tell me to play a 3. I play a 3 and it doesn't work. Then they say, why did you play a 2 at the back? Fine. But when you play a 3, don't play Syed Kolasinac as your third defender. That's what doesn't make sense. Why did you not play Kieran Tierney as the third centre back and play Tavares on the left? Or play Kolasinac on the left, even though I wouldn't want him anywhere near the London colony at all. But play Kolasinac on the right as a wing back and play Tierney in the centre back. It's also this decisions that Arteta has made, like playing Granit Xhaka at left back instead of playing someone like, you could have played anyone at left back, but he chose to play
An
Granit
actual
Xhaka
left back at left back, yeah.
You could have played Kolasinac there. I don't rate him. Okay, I think Kolasinac was out on loan, but play someone like and this is the problem here, is you could have played Saka at left back. He played that role and he was good at it because he can get forward and he's not the worst. Tactically, he's pretty good. He also has the legs to do that. Xhaka doesn't. Now you've unbalanced the whole team because you've got 4 defenders that defend. That's all they're trying to do. They're not trying to play anything else because none of them had the legs or the ability to go up and down and up and down. He did that in the Champions League, in the Europa League final, I think. Xhaka played at the left back. And also we played with a 9. I mean, a false 9 as up front. There's no striker. He does things like that where it almost seems like he's trying to do something so wild that if it works, everyone's like, this guy's a fucking genius.
Yeah. And he's going to run out of time. He's going to run out of bold moves to make.
Exactly. And, again, he's going to get sacked as well because of the squad he's been given. Because this is a 2 to 3 year plan that Arsenal have implemented, and he doesn't have 2 or 3 years. He has 8 games. I think that's what he has. And the problem is, think about it. Arteta did not want to go out and sign 6 22-year-olds or whatever the case may be. Obviously, he doesn't. He wants to sign ready-made. Let's start now. Slot into the first team. Andre Onana, first team keeper. Sign now. Play now. Rafael Varane, centre back. Sign. Play now. Obviously, he wanted it. He didn't get it, and he's going to get the sack for it. It's not his fault, maybe, on the signing, but then you look at the tactics that he employs with what he has, and it almost says, I'm not going to compromise.
Yeah.
You play
but Leno. Then you're shooting yourself in the foot there, He's shooting himself in the foot, I guess. He didn't make the signings. I agree with you. He didn't put himself in this position with the players that he has.
He signed William, though.
He did.
That's the one blemish.
That was the shocker. Yeah. But I also think there was something else going on there.
Anyway.
Yeah, there was something else going on there. But anyway, so how long do you give it? And I think that's probably the best way to round up this conversation.
Like I said, I give him the next 8 games. And I think if we're not getting 18 to 20 points from that 24, given the run of games as well. The run of games aren't horrific. It's not like we got a City, Chelsea, United, Liverpool.
Sure. It's the teams around you, the teams you're going to have rivals.
To beat. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So people need to look at it in context. We've lost 3 games. Of the 3, you don't expect to get 9 points from these 3 we've lost.
No, you would have expected 3 points maximum from those games.
3 points is realistic. 4 points maybe. And that's if you have a decent game at Chelsea. City will never beat.
Yeah.
Now, you're going to lose more points along the way. But then if you're not beating the teams you should be beating, like Brentford, then that's when there's a problem. So people put it in context. We've lost 3 points this season, theoretically, of what we should be winning. If you go on a run out of the 8 games, let's say he wins 6 of them or 7 of them, for example, all of a sudden, we're back in the running here. We where we should be. We end up fighting for 6-ish, somewhere around.
So what do you say? So you say 8 games, minimum of 18 points.
Yeah, I think around there. If he doesn't get that, then I don't see. I think below that he's getting the sack because we're not progressing actually under him. We looked solid defensively, and now we don't look solid defensively. Actually, no, we also never looked solid defensively. How we conceded the second least goals or whatever last year does not make sense. That does not make sense. The stats somehow, someone at Stats Guru or whoever does it, someone fucked up because we never at one point in the season looked like we were solid defensively, but we had the second best defensive record. Something weird.
Yeah, someone forgot to put in some zeros there or something. I don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But anyway, he did seem to do a job with the defense. At least we weren't conceding and shots per game and stuff against us. But then the attack was blunt. So, and again, he's playing Aubameyang on the left wing. Again, round hole, square peg. He doesn't play 100%. There. So there was things, and also I think he was shafted with the Pepe signing. I don't think he would have kept Pepe if he didn't have the choice. But 72 million, you have to play Pepe, and also then he brought Willian, and he gave Willian so many games to the point where there was, if you gave him more games, the fans would have gone nuts. So that I blame him 100%. I blame him for the Willian thing. Willian should have played a few games, and then sorry, bud, you're on the bench now. But
So yeah, so eight
so eight games.
games.
8 games.